The second thing that I wanted to share with you is that there is a benefit in giving things up temporarily, so that you can understand our relationship, or you can understand the relationship that you have with them. I feel like a lot of people, once we begin going down a certain path, we don't want to turn around. We don't want to be seen to be beginning again. And it's, in fact, it's one of the things that stops a lot of people from becoming successful. A lot of people don't want to be seen as being beginners. They don't want to be seen as starting all over again. And I feel like, and I think this is part of the reason why humility is one of the first traits and one of the first virtues that you have to exhibit before you can truly gain some momentum, before you can really make some headway, before you can really get onto the path of success. Because until you have humility, you cannot let go of what no longer works. And at some point, that is what you have to do. In order to embrace your destiny, in order to go down the path that is right for you today, not what was right for you 20 years ago or 5 years ago, in order for you to embrace that path today, you may have to step away from the path that you've walked on. You know, you may have spent the last 20 years feeling suicidal, feeling unhappy about yourself, hating your job, not ever having energy or vitality or vigor in your life. And you've got to the point where you've said, do you know what, I'm sick of this shit. Right? I want to live a life with energy, with vibrancy. I want to be vibrating on a high frequency. I want to feel energetic. I want to feel powerful. Any given day, you could make that choice. Any given day. You know, human beings, we can change at any point. On any given day, if you want to change your life, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as just making the decision. Now, like Jim Rohn once said, you may not be able to change your destination tomorrow, but you can change direction. You can get onto that path which is going to take you to that brighter future, right? To that vision, to that joy, to that success that you were seeking. But part of it is, I think, is that you have to step away sometimes and take a backseat. Right? Sometimes you have to stop driving and rest at a petrol station so that you can just see God. You know, sometimes when you're driving somewhere and you stop at the petrol station and you realize, God, my legs have been, my foot hurts, or my legs have been like they've been in a really awkward position, and I hadn't realized. And I feel like that's what some of us have to do in moments in our lives. Not all the time, but at certain periods in our lives. We just have to take a pause back. And I think this is where reflection comes in, where you reflect and you say, okay, is this what I want now? Am I heading in the right direction? Like, have things changed for me? I know that I didn't I remember there was a point in my life where I decided that in order for me to get to where I want to get to, I'm going to have to start reading. Now, I was never a good reader, and I hated reading all when I was growing up, throughout my adolescence and formal education. But I got to the point in my life where I was like, do you know what? I actually want to learn. I want to understand how does the world work. I want to understand other people's experiences. I want to get knowledge. I want to get strategies. I want to get philosophies. I want to get ideas. I want to improve my life, and therefore I need information, right? I need to know stuff. And when I got to that point, I had to let go of what no longer worked so that I can embrace what I can become, right? In my book, I said something on the lines of that potential is once you've done something, it is no longer your potential. Many people forget to realize that what is in front of you, your potential in front of you, is much greater than what you've achieved. What I found is that a lot of us in life, what we tend to do is we tend to give more emphasis on what we have done and forget and lessen the scales on what we could become. But what we can become is so magnificent, is so large, it is so enormous that a lot of us forget that. And I would encourage you to really think about that. Are you embracing what you can be, what you could be, and that incredible future that's in front of you if you embrace it? Or are you lingering and trying to celebrate and hold on to the past, right? There's a saying that goes something on the lines of, You cannot hold on to your past and also embrace your destiny. You have to let go of what was behind you so that you can put both of your hands to what is in front of you. And I just thought maybe you've been smoking weed for a long time. Maybe you have been on pills for a long time. You know, you've been taking antidepressants. Maybe you have been in a situation where you've been in a relationship. You've always been in a relationship all your entire life. What about if you try going 3 months without it? Maybe you've been on social media, you've been on Instagram, TikTok, you've been on WhatsApp, you've been on all of these different apps for basically the last decade. What about if you go the next 6 months and try to see what would happen in your life if you went without them? Because, sometimes we don't know that we have other choices until we open our mind and actually begin to see what's going to happen, right? What if sometimes you may end up going so far and deep into the woods that sometimes you don't even realize, oh my God, I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this. Isn't this what happens to people who end up in abusive relationships? It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a period of time where they just little by little they just step off. They let things go. They allow themselves to not hold their boundaries, and little by little they end up, in darkness one day. But I encourage you to step back. Who gives a shit if you're seen to be starting all over again? Who gives a crap if you go in the wrong a different direction to what you've been? It's your life, therefore live it the way that you want to live it, not the way that people think that you should live it. Remember that most of the people in life who are going to tell you that you can't do it, that it's impossible, that it can't be achieved, are going to be the people who are closest to you. I've spent the last 7 years of my life reading an autobiography every single week. Right? An autobiography is where somebody writes a book about themselves and they've achieved success and they say, this is how I did it. And almost in every situation, when people talk about, oh, this is who didn't support me, this is who didn't believe in me, it's almost always their family. Now, there is, of course, rare exceptions where their family love them, their family support them, absolutely. But in the great majority of people, the people who don't believe you the most are the people who you love. You've maybe been a mother and you've decided that you want to start a business. You've maybe never thought about having kids, but now you've decided you want to have kids. You've maybe been working 80, 90 hours every single week, but now you've decided actually you're going to change your lifestyle and spend a bit more time with your friends, right? Any given day, you could make that choice if that is something which is important to you. What I tell you is sometimes it's important to just step back. When was the last time, if you constantly have been working every single week for the last 14 years of your life, what about if you took off 2 months? See what happens if you just stopped working for 2 months. What will it do to your mental health? What will it do for the amount of time that you have? What will it do to maybe think about and reflect on what is important where you are? It's just something that I was thinking about and I thought, that's very, very, very interesting. What about stopping coffee? How do you know that you're addicted to coffee unless one day you stop it? I don't know. Just think about it. It's just something that I thought. Or if you've constantly been driving everywhere for the last 10 years, what about if you sell your car for the next year and then be on a bike? And then, of course, if you want to, just buy the car up again in a year's time. But it would be interesting to go through that experiment, to have that control back in your life where you're like, actually, I'm the one who's deciding. I'm not letting momentum take me anywhere it wants to take me. I'm the one who's deciding where we're gonna go, how far we're gonna go, how much of this we're gonna do. It'd be interesting for you to get back that control. So that's the second thing. The third and last thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about is that great marriages are not based on finding, and great relationships are not based on finding someone, but rather they're based on creating a beautiful life.